When I told them I'd finally stopped paying their emergency loans, Mom gasped and dropped her glass like I'd just stabbed her. Dad shouted that I'd abandoned family. But that day, I felt calm. I walked out the door. Last week, they were fined for fraud after a neighbor caught them faking another crisis. That lie was their last weapon and I took it away. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Mom used to cry over unpaid bills while I skipped lunches to wire her money. I believed every sob, every desperate voicemail she'd say, "We're drowning in Olin," and I'd send my rent. Then one night, I saw a tagged photo her laughing with a margarita at a spa resort. My gut twisted. That's when Everly first said, "Something's off." I brushed her off. I wasn't ready to believe my whole childhood was built on a scam. Back in high school, I sold sneakers online to help with groceries. One night, Dad found my stash of cash and said it was family money now. He bought a new TV the next day. I didn't argue, I just worked harder. Jonah once asked why we never had food but Dad always had beer. I told him to stay quiet. That silence, it became our family's language. Everly called it generational rot. She wasn't wrong. When Jonah asked for help paying college fees, I felt proud until I learned Mom had told him I owed the family for raising me. She guilt-tripped him just like she did me. I confronted her. She said, "You've forgotten where you came from." I felt sick. Catherine texted me she told your cousin Alan the same thing. Everly begged me to draw boundaries. I hesitated. Was I heartless, or just finally seeing the truth? Dad called, slurring, saying the water heater exploded. I wired $200. Later, Mrs. Chen told me she saw a repairman the week before. I called the plumber, no record. Catherine found old texts, used the heater story. It works, my chest burned. I threw my phone. Everly picked it up and said, "They're playing you." I said nothing, but I started saving the lies. A folder on my laptop, truth, just in case I cracked. One night, I overheard Mom on speakerphone with a friend. "He's soft, I just cry, and the money flows." My heart froze. I recorded it. Catherine cried when I sent her the clip. "She did that to me too," she whispered. Everly offered to confront them. I shook my head. Not yet. I needed more. I needed them caught in their own web, not mine. I wasn't going to be the villain in their story. I took a break from answering their calls. Within a week, Jonah said Mom claimed I was mentally unstable. She told Aunt Leslie I was paranoid, blamed Everly. The smear campaign had started. Everly hugged me tight and said, "This is how abusers react to control loss." I clenched my jaw. Catherine forwarded screenshots, lies layered like bricks, but I didn't break. I was building something else, a record. A truth doesn't scream, it stacks silently. On Thanksgiving, I invited them over. Catherine hid in the next room. Recording, I handed Mom a folder, printouts, screenshots, transcripts. She laughed, thin and sharp. "You think you're better than us?" Dad stood, fist clenched. I didn't flinch. "I think I'm done." Catherine stepped out. "So am I." That silence, for once, it belonged to them. Dad threw the folder across the room. "We're your parents. You us." I stood, heart pounding. "I don't owe you my sanity." Catherine grabbed her keys. "We were leaving." Mom's eyes darted. No tears this time, just calculation. Everly filmed everything. It wasn't revenge. It was proof. I was done being their wallet. This wasn't a scene. It was a line drawn. That night, Mom sent a mass text, "Pray for Nolan. He's lost." I didn't reply. Jonah called crying. "Why are they saying you're sick?" I explained slowly. He understood. "She did that to me too." He sounded small, like I once was. I felt rage coil inside me, but I said, "We'll get through this," Everly whispered. "You're rewriting the family script." I squeezed her hand. "I hope so." The next day, I sent the audio and documents to our attorney, Leonard. He replied this could qualify as financial abuse. Catherine agreed to testify. I booked therapy for Jonah with Dr. Garner. Mom left 20 missed calls. I blocked her. Dad emailed, "Where are your blood?" I replied, "Blood doesn't mean abuse is okay." I didn't tremble hitting send. For once, I didn't doubt myself. Leonard filed a claim. Fraud and coercion. I braced for backlash. Aunt Leslie defended them publicly. Old friends ghosted me. Jonah's tuition was suddenly lost in the system. Catherine's car was keyed. Everly's mom said, "They're retaliating." I held the folder tighter. Pain didn't scare me anymore. Being silent did. I wasn't trying to burn bridges. I was just done pretending they were ever safe to cross. Court dates had small claims and a restraining order. Felicia came in a neck brace. Randall wore sunglasses. They claimed emotional damage. Leonard handed over recordings, text threads, witness statements. The judge asked me to speak. I said, "I love them." I still do. But Lev is in debt. The courtroom held its breath. When we walked out, Everly whispered, "That was your line in the sand." I nodded. Finally, I'd drawn mine. The judge ruled partial repayment of fraudulent transfers and a no-contact order for 6 months. That night, I got an anonymous letter. "You'll regret this. Jonah's school email was hacked. Catherine's tires were slashed. Police said, no direct evidence. Everly's parents installed cameras. Mrs. Chen offered her garage for our safe files." I started waking at 3 a.m. checking locks. This wasn't over. They couldn't control me anymore, but they weren't done punishing me either. Jonah found a hidden camera in his dorm vent. Campus security launched an investigation. Dad's email was used to register it. Police couldn't confirm who placed it. Jonah was shaken. How far will they go? I didn't know. Leonard suggested a private investigator. Catherine funded it anonymously. Everly stood watch at night. I installed alarms. This wasn't just emotional warfare anymore. It was surveillance. They weren't parents. They were predators trying to claw their control back. The investigator traced the spyware to a storage unit rented by Randall under a false name. Inside, notebooks, receipts, photos, some of me as a teen, some recent obsession, not love. Leonard prepared for escalation. Jonah cried, "They never loved us, did they?" I didn't answer. Everly did. "They loved power, not people." That day, we all changed. We weren't broken kids anymore. We were survivors. And survivors build walls with truth, not silence. Catherine took the evidence to a journalist. The article ran, "Family fraud and psychological abuse hidden in suburbia." It went viral. Emails poured in. Others like us, silenced by guilt. A nonprofit offered legal support. Felicia sent a cease and desist. Leonard laughed. Jonah held the paper like a trophy. Everly cried, not from fear but release. "You broke the cycle," she whispered. I looked at our folder. No longer protection, now it was proof that love shouldn't hurt. Felicia created a YouTube video. "My son is a liar," she sobbed. "He's always been troubled." Comments were split. But then Jonah uploaded clips of her manipulation phone calls, contradictions, the hidden camera photo. Within hours, her video was flagged, comments turned, Catherine's inbox flooded with support. Everly's dad said, "You've changed lives." I didn't feel heroic. I felt tired but clear. This wasn't revenge. This was truth clawing its way into daylight. And it burned beautifully. At a neighborhood meeting, Mrs. Chen stood up and said, "I watched them lie for years. Nolan isn't the problem." Others followed, teachers, neighbors, friends. The silence cracked. Catherine whispered, "You're not alone anymore." For the first time, I felt it. I wasn't just surviving, I was seen. Everly held my hand. Jonah smiled. His first real one in months. This wasn't just my fight, it was ours now, and together. We weren't backing down. The nonprofit offered to help others build evidence folders. I led a workshop. Nervous at first, I spoke. Gaslighting makes you question everything. Paper doesn't lie. I shared our story quietly, raw. One woman cried, another asked for help. Jonah stood beside me. Everly snapped photos. Catherine nodded from the back. I wasn't hiding anymore. I wasn't Nolan, the ungrateful son. I was Nolan Whitaker, builder of truth. And for the first time, I stood tall. A documentary crew reached out. They were filming a piece on financial abuse within families. At first, I declined. Then Jonah said, "If even one person escapes what we did," we agreed. Everly prepped notes. Catherine organized files. I sat in front of the camera. Sweaty palms, steady voice. My parents loved control more than connection. The crew went silent. Truth has a sound. It's the echo after a boundary that finally holds firm. Weeks after the documentary aired, I got a letter from a woman claiming to be Randall's ex. She sent photos, him faking injuries, manipulating bank statements. She wrote, "He did to you what he did to us." Her story mirrored mine. I cried in the shower, not from pain but relief. I wasn't alone in this pattern. Jonah read the letter aloud. Proof it wasn't us. I nodded. Some truths hit harder when they come from strangers. Jonah received a scholarship funded by an anonymous donor who saw the documentary. He cried, hugging Everly, "Someone believes in me." I hugged him tight. Catherine whispered, "You gave him that." I wasn't the one who betrayed, I was the one who broke the chain. The folder we built, it didn't just save us, it saved him. And in that moment I realized healing isn't just survival, it's handing others the tools to escape their own cage. Randall violated the restraining order. He showed up at Jonah's graduation. Security removed him. Jonah didn't flinch. He walked the stage, shook hands, smiled. I stood, clapped until my palms burned. Catherine sobbed quietly. Everly squeezed my shoulder. Later, Jonah said, "He didn't get to steal this." That day felt different. Not just a win but proof that we could build something they couldn't touch. Not guilt, not lies, just earned joy, and it was ours alone. Felicia sent one last email. "You've destroyed your family." I didn't reply. Instead, I printed it and added it to the folder. Jonah read it, shrugged. "She doesn't define us." I stared at that line, so manipulative, so final. Everly said, "She's wrong, we're just starting." That email wasn't closure, it was proof we made the right choice. Catherine lit a candle. "Here's to endings that aren't sad, just necessary." We clinked glasses. Quiet, not silence, peace. A therapist at Dr. Garner's office asked to share our story with new patients, to help others name the abuse, she said. We agreed. Weeks later, a woman approached us at a support group. "Your story saved me," she whispered. Everly hugged her. Jonah gave her our email. I just nodded, choked up. The folder, once defense, had become a lifeline, not just for us but for anyone clawing their way out of manipulative love. Everly proposed at the beach, just us, soft waves, no cameras. "I want to build a family with you, one built on truth." I said yes before she finished. Catherine cried. Jonah teased. Finally, we weren't replacing what we lost, we were creating what we deserved. Later, I added the ring photo to the folder. The folder, that once held lies, now held love. Our history wasn't pain anymore, it was proof we chose better. Felicia and Randall disappeared from social media. Last anyone saw, they were in another state, under new names. But I stopped checking. Their absence wasn't fear, it was freedom. Jonah said, "We don't need a finale, we already won." I nodded. Winning wasn't applause, it was peace. Catherine baked a cake to survival and choice. Everly kissed my cheek. I looked around at these people, my chosen family. No more running, no more hiding, just forward. Finally, we started a support group, Children of Emotional Debt. Weekly, we gathered, shared stories, compared scars, swapped strategies. One woman said, "I thought I was the only one." I smiled. That's how they win, by making us feel alone. Everly brought cookies. Catherine made resource lists. Jonah printed flyers. The room buzzed with unlearning. Not therapy, community, not judgment, validation. And that, I realized, was the real twist. Our pain became our platform, our silence now strength. At our one-year support group anniversary, Catherine gave me a framed photo, our first session, Everly holding my hand, Jonah laughing. "You built this," she said. I stared at it. All those years, I thought strength was silence. Now I knew it was speaking, gathering. Choosing truth daily. Randall and Felicia were ghosts now, but the room was alive. That was the final twist. Love wasn't what we lost, it's what we chose to build. I sat alone, flipping through the folder one last time. Every page once hurt, now it reminded me of how far we'd come. The lies, the gaslighting, the silence, they were our past. The choice to speak, to leave, to build something new, that was our power. I whispered to myself, "You did it, not perfectly but completely." And that finally was enough. At our wedding, Everly handed me the old folder, now filled with letters from people we'd helped. "Proof that pain transforms," she said. I held it like a badge. Jonah gave a toast. "We are not what they made us, we are what we chose next." The crowd cheered. I felt no sadness, only peace. The cycle was broken. We weren't trapped in the past, we were the architects of our own healing. Years later, Jonah asked if I ever missed them. I paused. I missed the idea of who they could have been, but not who they were. He nodded slowly. Same. I glanced at our family photo, me, Everly, Jonah, Catherine. It wasn't traditional, it was truthful. That's all I ever wanted, not perfect love, but real love. And now finally, we had it. Randall and Felicia were fined for contempt. Their credit was frozen, their aliases exposed. Jonah's university issued them a no trespass order. Community members who once doubted us now apologized. "We didn't know," one said. "Now you do," Jonah replied. The courtroom silence was different this time, not fear, but finality. We weren't running, we were reclaiming everything they tried to steal. Our nonprofit launched officially Folders of Truth. Survivors sent thank you videos. One woman said, I left after your story. Jonah cried. Everly spoke at conferences. Catherine mentored teens. I stayed quiet. Behind the scenes, building structure. It wasn't about spotlight, it was about stability. The same stability we never had. We didn't just heal, we handed blueprints to others, and that's real legacy. On our porch one evening, Everly asked, do you ever wish it happened differently? I thought for a moment, no, because then we wouldn't be here. Jonas drummed his guitar. Catherine laughed in sigh. Our dog barked at the wind. Peace wasn't loud, but it echoed. We didn't escape our past. We walked through it. And what we built after, that's what mattered. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe to check out more stories on my channel.